It's a powerful story of heritage, history, and perseverance, drawing from years of research into Chickasaw ancestry. Well, we want to welcome Mary Ruth Barnes, author of Where the Birds Land. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And you're joining us from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma has an incredibly rich native, many different clans, as you had mentioned. And maybe you could tell us a bit more about the clan from which your family comes from.
Well, my family's the Bird Clan, but where I live in Ada, Oklahoma, we are in a part of what is called the nation, Chickasaw Nation. So there's certain counties that we fall under the Chickasaw Nation. So I live in the heart of it, and I'm very blessed that I get to live here among all the activities that the Chickasaws get to have and the opportunities they offer us. So
Absolutely.
that was part of my research, that I was able to go to the Cultural Center and research for my book there.
And what do you draw from just growing up within your family, and from maybe the stories, the oral history that you were exposed to that inspired this book and also your first book?
Yes. The first book is Little Bird. The second one is Where Birds Land. And I mentioned before that I'm a part of the Bird Clan. So landing on an allotment was really influential in the title of the book. And so my research really developed with my mother. She was 96 a few years back. She's passed, but she helped me dig into the research of old Bibles and old journals and old books to help bring out some of the stories of my great aunts and my grandfather. My grandfather was fluent in the Chickasaw language. His sisters were not.
Oh, wow.
And that was because they went to boarding schools and they were not allowed to speak the language at the boarding schools.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And share with us, so Where the Birds Land, what was the inspiration behind this book? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about the premise.
Well, originally I started with Little Bird, which was my great-great-grandmother, and she was Choctaw and Cherokee, and she married and outlived 4 Chickasaw men. One was a constable for the Chickasaw Nation, one was a national jailer, and my great-grandfather, her husband, Houston Brown, was the constable. And so she had 2 children, Ella and Belle, and Ella is my great-grandmother, and she's the story in Little Bird. And she received an allotment, but she didn't want it because she was a farmer and a rancher, and she had horses and cattle, and she raised crops. And the land was over by Turner Falls, Oklahoma, just between Ardmore and Turner Falls. And it was all rocky and cliffs, hills, and she didn't want it because it's a state park for the city of Ardmore now, and it's beautiful, but she didn't want it at all. And so she refused to accept it because if she did, it went in a trust for 25 years and she couldn't sell it for 25 years. So
Well,
that created.
did you run into any challenges when you were putting this book together?
Absolutely. The barriers at first was just being able to organize the Dawes Rolls transcripts, because I was digging into paperwork at the Cultural Center, and that was not in sequential order by time or date or year. It was just plodding through and trying to figure it out. And finally, I went on Ancestry.com and I found 77 pages of those transcripts in sequential order. So I was able to rebuild her steps and her life as she went from one Dawes Commission meeting to another to try to convince them to give her a different piece of land.
And what was the role? So the Dawes Commission, what was the role that women played during that time?
Well, 1897, there were 5 men who came from the U.S. government into Indian Territory, and they interviewed people periodically all through this area, and they were determining who was Indian and who was not.
Now, what do you hope readers come away with as we celebrate Indigenous Peoples Month? What do you hope people come away with after reading this book?
Well, I think that they will hopefully have a greater understanding of the struggles and the pain that these women went through. Because the society then, Native Americans were in a matrilineal society. So the woman pretty much took care of the family. She was the farmer and the rancher. And so, and the husband went out and hunt and would provide the food. So it really was amazing to me that she would take 6 kids in a wagon and travel over 10 days just to interview
Sure.
with 5, non-natives to prove that she's native. So I don't think my story is just my story. I think it's many indigenous people's story.
It's
And
beautiful.
I hope that people will be able to take from that and understand the struggles that their family went through to get them what we call a roll number and an allotment today.
Wonderful. Well, Mary Ruth Barnes, thank you so much for sharing with us. It's the book, Where the Birds Land. Make sure you order it, get it online. I want to thank you again for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll be back
I
after this.
appreciate it.